It is time. There we go.
What is up, dude?
What's up, brother? It's been a minute.
Ooh, it has been a minute.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, likewise, likewise.
I brought you. We put out 2 books this month, but I brought you the newest one. How the hell to get back up after tough times?
Life hits you with a throat punch. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
And that is the non-PG-13 version that we read.
This is the non-PG-13 version. So if you have The Art of Getting Back Up, it's basically the same book. But when I was writing this, my good buddy Hank was like, I was like, man, I cannot come up with the title for this book. And then he said this title, and I was like, that's actually perfect. So this was like the running fun title.
Oh, okay, excellent.
In the background that actually became the I decided to print some just for fun.
Dude, that's
and I'm like,
awesome.
actually, I love
I
this.
love it.
So there we go.
I love it. And we got you wrote the forward for this one, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Dude, right there.
Pretty cool.
I got carded, so I'm old enough to.
Absolutely.
just
yes,
under
yes.
the wire.
Yeah. Sorry, Grandma.
Sorry, Grandma. Oh my God, that could have been like my mantra for.
Yeah. Then how are you? How was the last couple weeks?
Dude, crazy good. Yeah, so like Tanner and I. The mobile studio's parked out back.
Oh, awesome.
Yes,
Wow.
sir. Yes, sir. And this morning, hallelujah, got an email straight from the servers of Sweet Baby Jesus that the Apple developer account was approved. So Studio USA will have an app probably by the end of next month.
To do what?
For the content, for on the real estate side.
Wow, how
it's
cool.
really just devoted for the agents and clients that will essentially allow us to be their not only a marketing partner, but sort of like the strategist and like, command and control.
How cool.
So, for example, if you were out selling houses, if you rolled it back and actually decided to do that again,
why not?
Yeah, of course, why not? Add another thing to your
Yeah.
list. It would allow you to have basically everything we've ever done right there in the palm of your hand.
Oh, wow.
And
How
it
cool.
kind of goes to the assumptive close. If you were in, old school, the thought process of, well, hey, this is what it'll look like when we market your house.
Yes, absolutely.
So then you're halfway there. And then it's on the other person to be like, oh, no, I'd rather not have. Yeah, that's far too competent.
Yeah, that's far too great for me. Yes. Yeah.
That's not what I look for in a professional.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's on the horizon. And then everything else, man.
Yeah.
It has been one of those things where actually this ties in directly with
Let's go there.
Yes. What ChatGPT, we kind of decided to roll it back and be like, hey, you know what? To knock the dust off, pound the dents out, since it's been a couple of weeks since we actually went live, we will rely on the robot overlord of ChatGPT to give us a title and a topic. So, title and topic: from hustle to flow, rewiring your mind for sustainable success. And then the focus is the shift from grind culture to alignment, flow states, and long game thinking.
Man.
And our quote to kick it off, this is very timely because I'm actually reading or listening to. Is it cool to say I'm reading if it's audible?
You know what? This is the timeless debate. I had a very close friend of mine, and we debated this probably every other month. I strongly believe that listening counts as reading.
I do too. But it's awkward to say.
She disagreed at the highest level. Now to her credit, I probably do get more out of it if I sit there like with a highlighter and like I'm getting more front right.
Yes.
But I can still tune out when I'm reading, by the way. If you ever got to the end of 2 pages and you're like, I don't think I think my eyes were moving, but nothing checked.
So,
maybe that's just a guy thing. I don't know. Like I can do both. I can check out both ways.
So every night, as I, taxi back towards the terminal and I'm waiting for the melatonin to kick in or whatever, I actually read on the iPad.
Yes.
I'm laid to the side and I'm reading on the iPad or whatever. And every day, the following day, I barely remember what I was reading, let alone what I read.
Yes.
So, yes, I'm with you. But the quote is from Elon Musk: work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in 80 to 100 hours a week, every week. This improves the odds of success.
Absolutely.
And while, yes, in the beginning that is very true, and I was, blessed, cursed, or whatever, where once I got sober, it was all of a sudden there's all these hours in the day that didn't used to exist, because it turns out when you're like, your main pursuit is intoxication.
Yeah.
It's very taxing. It's very busy. You're busy. And then when you remove that from the equation, all of a sudden it's like,
all this time to fill.
yes. And, you know, the Idle Hands, Devil's Workshop or whatever, I'm the poster child for that. So, again, cursed in the beginning, turned out to be blessed in the sense that I just worked because, and I still do because, well, I don't really have anything else to do.
Yeah.
And I don't say that as like, oh, woe is me, my life is so unfulfilled or so empty. I say it in the sense of I went from all of my hours were filled with the worst possible shit that you could ever do as a human.
Yes.
To having all of those hours back and this sort of like manic energy that comes from, I suppose there's a psychology to where I'm making up for lost time. But
Yeah.
I love hustle porn.
I think there are very few absolutes, meaning there's like the absolute of like never give up. Sometimes you need to stop doing something.
Right.
Right. And then I think you look like, should I work 180 hours or should I pace myself? And I think that I know that there are different seasons, and I think that's what people need to really reflect. Like there are seasons. I did a podcast this week, and part of that podcast was, you need to go work. Like you need to, people are like, they're talking about boundaries and all this other stuff. And I was like, I get it, yet, and I'm a strong proponent of boundaries, yet if you don't have any money and you have kids, you don't have boundaries. Meaning like, if somebody's like, hey, 6:30 Sunday morning, I want to look at a house, like you better go get your butt in a car and go show a house. So I think that you earn, here's the key phrase that, I've talked about a lot of times before, but like you earn the right? So you earn the right to never miss a kid's soccer game. Right, but like you earn the right to get there. Hopefully, you've earned the right earlier in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're not having to redo that when you got 4 kids between 2 and 8 or whatever it is. But I do think there is the whole thing of like sustainability. I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And most of here's what I see most often is entrepreneurs that they go 250 miles an hour, then they crash and burn. And by crash and burn, they literally get sick, right? They have health issues or something terrible happens in their life, whatever it is, and then they have to basically pull the car over. They're going 0 miles an hour.
Got to pull over and throw up.
Pull over, throw up, kick somebody out. You know what I mean? Change tires, whatever, like something terrible. And then they got to start over again. So it's like 250, 0, 250, and it's just exhausting. So what I do a lot with my clients is let's figure out what the sustainable thing is for you. And I think it's different for different people.
Absolutely.
Depending on kids. I know some of my clients that can sleep for, 4 hours forever and they're fine. I know other one of my clients, like literally if they don't get 8.2 hours of sleep every night, like they're a mess.
Yeah.
So I think, but I think you do have to build to, is this sustainable? Does this work for me? And I think it's a lot of self-reflection. You're like, if I've been just hustling like crazy for years and it's not working, like something is off. So I think to your point, there are seasons of you better go grind it out. And for a lot of people right now is a discipline season. It's not necessarily grind out 100 hours, but it's definitely a disciplined kind of boring season.
And so I'm always curious to your thoughts on because like some of the stuff for me just kind of came. Again, part is a byproduct of being sober and not just actively burning down my life every day.
Yes.
So there's addition by subtraction that happens there. But then there's also this thing of I found my niche in that I just like to, excuse me, it's not grinding in the sense of, oh, I'm sprinting all day, every day. But it's like I do something. I say I work 7 days a week. I just don't work 8 hours a day. There might be days where like, okay, there's a lot going on and there's a lot to do. And then there might be a day after that where you might get 3 hours out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also have this thing of I kind of fell into this rhythm of as long as I don't, and it really is, as long as I don't have to go get a job, everything's cool. Because, well, I mean, having been, and everybody's experience is different, but having been like a corporate, like cube dweller or whatever, that sucked.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know how bad of course, objectively, it sucks just from, you go to this little thing every day, you could say that. But when there's really good money and there's like a little bit of status attached to it or whatever, that's kind of a wash. But then when you look back and you're like, oh my God, just everything that I did for all those years, it was like, that totally sucked on every level, and I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And so now there's also, what do you think about this, where I'm kind of fueled by gratitude on a level that I'm still kind of shocked that I get to do this.
Yeah.
And now too, where it's actually really coming together. Like, okay, we're having an app made or whatever. Okay, that wasn't on my bingo card.
I think so much of it is our perspective. It was interesting that they did this, and I don't remember all the exact data, but they did this experiment with these two mice. One of the mice had something to run in his cage, and so whenever he wanted to, he could jump in there and run a little bit, and then get off, or whatever, and whatever. And there was a second mice that when the first mouse ran, the second mice they made run. Right, so first mouse is doing it by choice. The second mouse is doing it because it's put in there every time this mouse goes and gets in there. Right.
Wow, okay.
What was interesting is mouse number one was getting all these benefits from exercising. Right, all these good things were happening. Right, mouse two, negative things were happening. Right, and it was literally like mouse one was like, I'm doing, like, I want to do this, so it's great. Mouse,
I'm getting on the
same
wheel.
activity,
Yeah,
same amount of time, same whatever. Right, but mouse one of them was showing all these positive things, the other one was showing negatives. So I think it's so depends. Can you have the perspective of mouse one while you're kind of forced by to be mouse two sometimes, right? It's like sometimes the market makes me work harder than I would like to. But can I, like you said, the gratitude piece, can I keep that in mind? You're good. What we say is you're gonna do the work. So how can you enjoy doing how can you enjoy playing the game just as much as you enjoy winning the game? And let's have both. Let's play and let's win. But I think that's what you're talking about. Like, can I have so much? Can I switch my mind to a point? You can switch your mind that fast. Can I switch my mind and enjoy this game?
Yes. Well, and I love the idea of gamifying things.
Yeah.
Because even now I have, knock wood, whatever day number this is for 2025, I've actually done the cardio every day since January 1st.
Good job. Holy cow.
But there, it's only because I gamified it. It's like, okay, put an elliptical in the loft. Okay, go get a giant, big-ass TV. Then I also have a giant touch screen that I can mirror my phone.
Oh, fun.
So I have...
That's amazing.
I'll take a shot and send it to you. But it's like, I fully had to lean into like, okay, I'm kind of ridiculous on a lot of the levels of what I do. But like there, knowing that like, okay, well, if I make this ridiculous and really suit my purpose, I will literally do it every day.
Yes.
And I kind of got into that. And now my newest thing is I'm gamifying the protein and the macros. Because like if I live to be 1,000, I will never wake up and give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I'm just not. Because odds are, at 56, I probably would have looked into that once or twice before if it actually interests me. But I now gamify it. Dude, I have this army of the sugar-free syrups and athletic greens, and then I did mad scientist deal, and I got this protein powder made that it is like 40 grams of protein per scoop or whatever,
insane.
but it also has lion's mane and a bunch of other mushrooms and amino acids and all this other stuff where I'm like, I don't know, that just seemed like really, it just seems really intense and really cool.
That's awesome.
Oh, and so then I'll do that because I'm still to this day trying to find out the way where like, can I eat this thing, drink this thing, and again, it's probably somewhat attached to the addictive personality, but where then I don't have to worry about filling like X forever. Like I would rather not have to eat and sleep just for the sake of like, but so then the major unlock over the last week has been the psyllium husk, which is it's just fiber. But like this stuff is like this miracle thing, or I don't know, like a week from now I might just like have all my innards fall out or whatever. But it's this super intense fiber additive thing where you put it in anything. It's water soluble, but it has this trick where it turns into a gel. Yeah. So it turns into a gel like in your stomach. So after about 20 minutes of doing the thing, it's like super high protein, super high this, that, the other thing, and the athletic greens, all that. And then the stuff turns to a gel, and like, dude, I'm not hungry at all. It's almost like a healthy form of like Ozempic or whatever that I'm trying to like.
Oh my gosh, this sounds so interesting.
Sci-fi. But dude, my kitchen is a disaster. So anybody that's ever been to my house, it's like I have one plate, one frying pan, one. But I have the air fryer, which is the gift of the gods.
Absolutely.
But my current obsession, like there, I gamify it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't turn into the giant pain in the ass thing that diet and exercise is. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm going to go watch the Avengers on the thing, and I'm going to mirror my TV on this giant, goofy touchscreen.
Well, and I think we do. I think we underestimate the ability to make things better if we just took like you just said, like just take a step back to go like, how could I improve this? And even when it comes to like real estate lead generation, like how many, like Ashley was talking the other day about how like pickleball is like one of her lead generation things, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it can be fun. You can do things in great ways that serve you.
And that really weird, because I was certainly raised with it, where it's that kind of puritanical work ethic.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, on the one hand, that's good.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
make hay while the sun shines or whatever. But there's the other thing on like this, where it was like going from that grinder to flow to sustainable. There was this thing where, okay, if it wasn't the labors of Hercules to get X, whatever that is, you don't deserve it. Or
100%. Yeah.
And
you realize the sun's always shining. And then you're like, it's like make hay while the sun shines. It's like cool, but then at one point you're like, there's always sunshine. Like this is it's like,
well, especially
now you just work all the time.
Yeah, in 2025, where you literally have access to almost everything, almost all the time.
Yeah.
And even the thing of people having access to you all the
Yeah.
time or whatever, you know. And so I still, to this day, it's like I throw something out in the group chat or whatever, and it's like, why isn't anybody answering? And it's like, dude, it's been 45 seconds.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, and I think that's where, like, so going into the second quarter, when we talk about earning the right, I think it's a great time to go back and look at, like, get your calendar out. Look at pictures on your phone. Like, what did I do last quarter that served me, that I enjoyed, that was in alignment with my goals? What wasn't so much? It served me or in alignment. Like, look at your calendar and give yourself permission. I think the intentionality and the reframing or the recrafting, and I think that's the key. The key is like to not just white knuckle through 10 years. The key is go like every single, you know, what do we say?
Decade.
It's like intention, action, reflection. And those three is so beautiful. Like, here's my intention, and then I take the action, and then I go like, was that as good as I thought it was, right? Did I like that? Did I not like that, right?
Or that
like
looked
with
way
your
better
mad
on
sciences,
paper.
right? You're like, oh, too much fiber, right? Like dial that back a little bit, right? Or oh, too much creatine, right? Whatever. But like, you wouldn't just make, like, for you with your mad sciences, you wouldn't just make it once, and if it was terrible, go, oh, well, this is what I said I was going to do, and just stick to that for that would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But we kind of do that in our life. Like, all right, here's what I'm doing, and we just kind of go, or we're haphazardly just throwing stuff every day. So like somewhere in the middle is beautiful. Like, oh, this is what I did yesterday. I kind of tracked it. Like, oh, I'm going to make these tweaks today. Like, that's the beautiful part, and keep adjusting with the intentional reflection.
How do you get people out of the idea of, because, you know, for me, it was learned behavior, I think, and then it was certainly to unlearn sunk cost fallacy, where it's like, well, I've been doing this for so long, or that's, you know, there was that old, you know, like the boomer thing of like, well, that's just how it's done.
Absolutely.
You know, there's that, but then there's like, well, I've spent X amount of dollars on this thing. I can't quit now. And it's like, no, you mean you like, you know, metaphorically drove down the tollway and threw that much out the window.
And I would love if somebody has a better way of doing this. I'll give you my take on it. I think it's one of the hardest things to do on your own.
Yes.
I think it's one of the best things you can do in a trusted group. So like when we do E4 and E5, that's one of the most beautiful places where you go like, hey, I've been like, and explain whatever the thing is. And then get those people that know you, like you, trust you, whatever it is, are going to give you feedback. And I think that's the best environment to make those big decisions, is because you don't know. It's like you've been in it too long. There's just, it's very, very, that's one of the toughest things I think to do.
The fish
really
doesn't
wisely.
know he's swimming.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's like, because you see people that do it too much, they don't do it enough, and we've all been there. So it's like, I really think that's the importance of being in a room like that with the right people, because it's almost impossible to do really, really well on your own.
I would say, at least based on my experience, it's categorically impossible. and then the other thing is,
I've heard of people asking for a friend.
Exactly. Asking for a friend. There is the element of, I didn't look at stuff for so long.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, then it becomes like, well, I don't even want to, like, God, like the closet door is closed. Yeah. I don't even remember what I threw in there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could get it shut.
And that's, so how did you just do one thing at a time? Like how did you do with that?
Much like the rest of my life, historically, it would be like, I don't pay attention to anything until it's actively on fire.
Yeah.
And so what's the interesting thing now about, so like one of these days we'll have to go into like partnerships and forming that sort of thing, because it dovetails exactly into what you said about having the right group of either group or like partner that is. So like, I've had various and sundry partnerships or whatever, but like only now with Tanner coming in, do I have somebody who's an equal with me on not only being able to make the stuff, but he already did it without me. So it isn't like, I didn't need me to teach him shit. You know what I mean? So like there's, okay, so your opinion on this is valid just by virtue of skins on the wall versus, you're throwing money at me or whatever the case may be. And to be able to be like, that's a very valid point. I looked at that once 3 years ago and haven't looked since.
Absolutely.
And then to be able to let go of that. So that's huge, and it's unquantifiable in the sense of I already feel the force multiplier in play. So I say that to say I'm looking forward to, there's a part of why I didn't do the group things was, dude, y'all are fucking grown-ups, man. And I'm over here like, no, dude, not yet. But, hey, I'm working on it. That kind of a thing where I would just do everything at 2 minutes to midnight and by the seat of the pants. And then again, go.
Well, and I think we learned those behaviors because they worked.
Right.
We're like, oh, this worked in college, or, oh, this worked when I was 6 years old. So, and it's, they served us for a minute, or maybe they didn't serve us as well. So one of the things that I was teaching a gal this week, she was talking about how she was beating herself up for not being better at a certain task. And what we began to discuss was like, you've been good at the system that you've been using has worked up until this point. You're not broken, but the system you've been using is broken.
Yes.
So it's like, you're okay. Like you're great. Like you're great. You just need to realize like, oh, the way I've been doing this sucks. I just need to change the way. Like I have the heart, I have the work ethic, I got the right intention, but like the bike I've been on is like 3 flat tires.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's
exactly.
just the thing that I'm using isn't working. So a lot of times when we teach people, it's like we teach them how to have tough conversations, teach them how to do a good team meeting, teach them how to hire better. Like all stuff. Most of that. There's some mindset in there, but a lot of times too, it's also here's the new tool you get to use to do this way better. So we got to change the mindset. We got to give them the tool, and then we speed that up by teaching them how to use the tool, and that's where the magic happens.
Well, and again, there's no pamphlet or brochure on how to, hey, you did this one thing at a corporate level for X amount of years or whatever. Now go start this business that is at best tangentially attached to what you were doing, and good luck, and we have this weird thing in today's culture where I'm not sure if it's just the social media aspect of everybody just showing the highlights or whatever, but it's like, dude, if I would have just wanted to show highlights the whole time and not told the truth, or just so like this has kind of been somewhat of like the confession booth too, which is cool. But man, I can have a highlight reel that kicks ass, As a matter of fact, I downloaded, because I am a digital hoarder, I downloaded my entire G Suite, which is all YouTube, everything, from 2016 or 2015 till now. So I have terabytes of stuff that I'm going to give the VAs to be like, here, make me a bunch of videos from 2016. So like, I'm going to have the highlight, but it's going to be like the real far look back. Because like part of it is I don't even remember what I did half the time.
Yeah.
There's this frenzy, kind of like that thing about the hustle, the grind, and then you get to a place where, there's a little bit of flow. But even there, it was spotty. And so it's like, how do you get to the consistency thing? And the answer is not always work 80 hours a week. Right. And
somebody says it's never that without some of the intentional reflection, though.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's the key. That's the key. All right. Tell them what we're going to do coming up. And I got to bounce to an awesome coaching call I'm about to have.
Oh, right on. Okay. Yes. So May 2nd, we are going
Which feels so far away.
Yes.
And it is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's like maybe 5 weeks.
Yes. It's like, hey, there's so much left of the year. Like, there's so much time left, and there's so little time left, right?
Yes.
So, true and true.
Yes. So we are going to follow up with from Liftoff.
Yep.
And on the 2nd of May, we're going to have, it's basically like I don't even know what to call it yet. It's so TBD on the name, but it's going to be essentially all of my super cool coaching.
Like we're firing the second booster,
second
right?
stage.
Yeah, second stage booster. There we go. Yeah,
Second stage.
there we go. Yeah.
See, that's how it works. So second stage is going to be like all my super cool
Yep.
coaching friends.
Which getting us all to the same date was a miracle, by the way.
Dude, I was only half kidding about the. Come on, it's been like 45 seconds. Would somebody answer me in the text? I'm on an island here. Yeah. Although I would say that actually serves as social proof that you guys are actually out doing stuff and are busy.
100%.
And trying to wrangle everybody to be in the same place at the same time. But we've got you, Michelle, Ashley, and Corey. All of you guys have volunteered to come out and have it be tactical.
Yes.
Where it's going to be essentially the kind of what we were talking about where let's work smarter, not harder, get in the flow of the whole marketing situation and like, the idea of what is your voice, what is your, fill in the blank as far as why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And then let's actually have tactical advice and the mobile studio there at the time to put it into practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a cool thing. You got all of us that are having hundreds of different people, different conversations and bringing the best in here and then going like, okay, here's what's actually working. Like here's how to actually do the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it'll be everything from, where you're the expert at dialing people into, let's figure out why, what you were saying earlier, let's figure out why and how to get you to the sustainable part.
Yeah.
Where you're not killing yourself just to buy groceries and you actually want to do what you're doing and you can, borrow some energy later from what you're saving now to do the things when you don't want to do them.
Yeah.
Then you have Michelle and Ashley, which are they're like the Abbott and Costello of women in real estate because it's like they mirror each other perfectly and they're hilarious.
They are
together. And then Corey's just going to be the nuts. He's going to be the X's and O's.
Yep.
He's going to be the Vince Lombardi of coming in there and making content and like off tackle, that kind of thing. And I'm fired up because Tanner and I will MC, so it'll be like a nice little self-contained universe. It'll happen at Metrotex.
Perfect.
We're gonna go rock and roll into the second stage.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Rock it out.
We named it. There you
There
go.
we go.
Aha.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yes.
And we are almost out.
Yeah, now I gotta go turn everything off.
It's my favorite part.